Okay, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show. You heard some background noises going off. That was me turning off my TV. But anyways, today's episode, I'm going to not see this as a serious episode. More so as just telling you guys like what I've had to like deal with in this racist world. All right, I'm not saying all of the world is racist, but I'm just saying there's some people out there. I feel like that today's racism is very different from like racism back in like the 50s and 60s, you know, where it was like a black person couldn't even step outside. Like nowadays, you know, I feel like people are way more like secretive about being racist. You know, back then you had black people, we were drinking from different water fountains. We were getting rocks thrown at us, spit on, like all these other like crazy different things happening to us. Nowadays, like you'll just get like a 9-year-old like kid calling you the N-word on like social media or something. Like me, cause I put myself out there on the internet left and right. Like I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm everywhere. Okay, so I've dealt with racism pretty much everywhere. All right, I would have to say like maybe not Facebook, but Twitter. I remember the last thing I dealt with that was racist on Twitter was so the kid called, and I don't know, maybe the kid didn't know, but it was like I'm explaining it to him like you can't call a black person a monkey. Like it doesn't matter what you have in front of it. Overall, you're calling this black person a monkey. You can't do that. All right. I mean, if you like, and if you think it's okay, then yeah, go. And I seen that he was in New York. He had like New York in his bio. So I'm like, okay, well, go to some place like Harlem. Go to a place where a lot of black people are there, and you see how see how calling them a monkey, how that goes. Because I'm telling you right now, it's not going to go good. Like me, I wasn't going crazy on him. I was just telling him, you can't call black people a monkey. He's sitting there telling me, oh, that's old. Nobody doesn't trip about that. No, they do. Like, don't tell me. I'm like, come on. Like, you can't sit here and be like a different race and tell me how black people think and stuff. Like, no, that's just it can't work like that. But anyways, yeah, like that's overall how I defeat I wouldn't really say my enemies, but just defeat people in an argument. If they think something is okay and I'm telling them that it's not, I'm like, okay, well, let's challenge this, okay? Let's put all our cards on the table. If you can go out in public and call somebody a name that you're calling them on the internet, and I'm telling you, like, you can't call people that, like, let's, like, you know, put it to the test. You do that, all right, and see how far it gets you and things. And I remember somebody was like, because I told somebody that like overall it had nothing to do with about like racism. Well, I mean in a way it did. I was talking about like Trump and immigration, but the guy, I told him, I was just like, okay, well, go up to some Hispanic people and tell them how you feel about like immigration and your support for Trump and his rules and all that stuff. And the guy was all like, I don't like the fact that you tell people that, insinuating that they're just going to get into a violent altercation. I'm like, that's what I want. I want them to get in a violent altercation. So that can be an eye-opener. You can't be saying all of these, like, you can't be open about stuff that crosses your mind. If you support things like that, support it on the low. If you're racist, be racist to yourself. Well, I mean, obviously you can't be racist to yourself, but keep your racist comments to yourself. Overall, I'm saying, like, if you are going to act a certain way on the internet, just believe that somebody's going to challenge you to act like that outside of the internet. And if you can't, you shouldn't be acting like that on the internet. That's why I'm like, when people be saying like racist comments and stuff, I'm like, okay, well, the same energy you got right now on Twitter or YouTube or anywhere else, you keep that same energy in Compton, California, or Harlem, New York. You keep that same energy in like places where a lot of black people are there. All right. So yeah, overall, I'm like, that's all. Like, I remember, no, it was like I'll have to say like my earliest memory. All right, I mean, I feel like this is the one and only time I've dealt with somebody like racist. Well, it wasn't even a face-to-face confrontation. All right, it was an old lady in her house, screaming at me and my friend. She called us the N-word 3 times. I counted up. Yeah, she might, I don't know, she might have called my friends, because I remember I walked off a couple of times. And yeah, it was that day was crazy, man. It was the last day of school, my 6th grade year. And so to start it all the way from the beginning, so last day of school, 6th grade year, me and my friends, we were all hanging out, all right? And I don't know how we came up with the idea, but we came up with the idea that we were going to get a couple of buckets, fill them up with water balloons, call up our friends, tell them, hey, meet us up at our old elementary school field, because it had like this like big giant field where it was like kids can run free throughout that whole field. So we're going to text our friends up, all right, off of our Virgin Mobile flip phones, and tell them like, hey, meet us up at this school and things. And so anyways, we're heading there, and then my friend and his cousin, they got into an argument about something. I can't remember what they were arguing about, but I remember they were just sitting there just like arguing and stuff. So I sat on the sidewalk just waiting for them and things, and there's this neighbor. So there's this neighbor where they had this dog there, and the dog couldn't really pass out this like little invisible electric fence, because then the dog's gonna get shocked. There was a day where I heard like that thing go off, and I'm like, bruh, I know if I can hear it, like that dog, like, I don't even understand why people would do that to a dog. Like, I would never put an electric collar on an dog and things. Like, I guess, yeah, it's like, I understand, like, you want to keep the dog like within the like line and things, but I'm like, I'm like, nah, that's just messed up. I'm like, that's some form of animal cruelty. Like, that's why you see people, all right, wearing them dog collars and animals. Like, it's like, yeah, you got people screaming to the top of their lungs because they got those dog collars on. But anyways, okay, back to the racist day story. So anyways, there's this neighbor. They had their dog there, and I pet that dog every day. Every day when I came home from school, I made sure I was always on that side of the street, and I would pet that dog, go about my day, all right, or go home. So anyways, I seen the dog was there, all right, because we were on one side of the sidewalk, and I went to the other side of the sidewalk to sit down, and I seen the dog was there. Right when my like hand was getting ready to connect with that dog's head, I just hear in the distance, "You get your hand away from that dog, you dumb N-word." I'm not gonna say it in things, you know, because I'm trying to keep it clean, all right? I'm trying to keep my podcast clean, all right? But anyways, yeah, that's what she said. And so I'm obviously, you guys know what the N-word is, and if you don't, then I don't know. Stay tuned for the uncut version. I don't know, but I feel like in this day and age, you should know what the N-word is. But yeah, she called me the N-word just for getting ready to pet a dog, and I'm like, first off, I know if you're looking out this window 24/7, I know you had to see me at some point in time pet this dog. I do not do any harm to this dog besides pet it, okay? The neighbor has, they're okay with me petting the dog because I pet the dog right there in front of their face. I pet dogs. I love dogs. Every time I see a dog, I want to pet a dog, okay? At my job, like, there be people bringing their dogs there, and I'm like, I want to pet the dog so bad, but I'm like, I'm a grown man, so it just, I feel like now, like, me being an adult, like, I can't do that. Like, I can't, like, if I was a kid, like, me when I was a kid, I would pet any dog. I'm like, whether you tell me I could or not, I would pet the dog. I'll give it like a small little pat on the head, and I'll run as fast as I can. But I'm like, I pet dogs, okay? So yeah, 11-year-old me, I was gonna pet that dog, all right? And I've been petting that dog. So anyway, she said that, and then me and my friends, we're all like looking up at the house like, yo, lady, are you serious? Like, who are you, like, why are you talking to us like that? Like, why are you, like, who gives you the audacity to just call us the N-word? And then she called us the N-word a couple more times. Fast forwarding in the story, so anyway, so no, actually, because I almost skipped the good part. So anyway, she pulled out a camera and started taking pictures of us. And then at that point in time, I was 11 years old. I wasn't really paying attention to my actions. So I undid my beat up belt, and I pulled my pants down and said, if you're gonna take a picture of something, take a picture of this, and showed her my butt. And I made sure I lifted my shirt up so she can see my ashy booty, all right? Cause no, it's like you guys, if like no, you're gonna be doing stuff like that, call us the N-word. I'm going to give you an image you will never ever forget. You will, all right, see the blackest part of me. So, anyways, that's when she called the cops, and yeah, called the cops, and then my sister. I remember, I think my sister was, she was coming home from school, or she was coming home from somewhere. And she was like walking up the street, and so she went, got my dad. My dad came, and the cops was there, and then the cop. What was messed up was how my friends just straight. My friends would not make it in the mafia. Now I'm just saying they would not make it in the mafia whatsoever. I've taken up for these friends so many times. Like, I've gotten in trouble for them so many times, just like with them and things. I'm like, bruh, they would not last in the mafia. But so, anyways. The cop, I remember the cop walked up to me and my friends and was like, okay, so who was the one that flashed her? They all pointed at me. They were like, Tyler, he did that. That was all Tyler. Yup, he was the one. He pulled it. Yup, him. He pulled the pants down. That's why he's doing his belt right now. Yup, that was all him. And I looked at them and I'm like, really? Like, really? We wasn't going to be all like, we wasn't even thinking about the fact, like, okay, well, let's just deny it. Let's just be all like, what are you talking about? We never pulled down our pants. They didn't even, they wasn't even thinking about that. They just all pointed at me. It was like, Tyler. As soon as the cop got there, they just shut down. I already knew what I had planned in my head. I'm going to deny everything. I'm going to treat this like a situation as if I'm dealing with my parents. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. All right, I don't know. So this is all on you to figure out, because I don't know what you're talking about and things. But and then like plus the camera she had, it was one of those like little like those cameras. They're about like maybe the same size of an VHS tape and things. It was one of those cameras. So it's like, lady, it's gonna probably take you like 10 years to develop those pictures and things. Like, she's probably at the store as we. Well, I haven't seen her in a while, so I don't know. She was pretty old, so. Who knows? She might be in an old folks home for all I know, or you know, if she's no longer here with us, then rest in peace to her. Like, you know, I hope she's up in heaven, just regretting all the racist stuff she's done throughout her life. But anyways, yeah. So I got in trouble. Got home. My dad, he's like screaming at me and yelling at me and things, and then called my mom, and I'm like, dang, I know I'm gonna get whooped. I know I am. I know I'm gonna get whooped. I'm like, so that's my plan was to fall asleep, and then just I'm like, you ain't gonna whoop a sleeping child, because I'm like, you whoop the child when it's awake. You don't whoop the child when they're asleep. So I'm like, that's not normal. You can't do it. I mean, I've seen it in movies. There's this one movie called Crooklyn, and the mom spanked the child when he was asleep and things, but he left their house dirty and stuff. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, I couldn't do that. I had to like wake the child up and things. I'm like, so wake me up, and I'll like act like I don't know what happened. All right, I'm just gonna have an amnesia moment. So anyways, my mom comes home. I heard the car pull up and everything. Like, I heard the garage opening. I heard everything. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to just act like I'm asleep. And I'm like, just act like I just don't know what had happened and things. I'm like, or deny everything. So anyways, mom comes home. She's at me, like, she comes in my room. And she was just like, Tyler, you asleep? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, I just pretty much just like gave up right there. I'm like, well, it's too late. I've heard her voice. I can't, like, I like, you know what? I'm just gonna have to take this whooping. I'm like, I brought it on myself. I should have just walked away. I'm like, you know what? I regret it all. I'm like, I'm sorry for, you know, getting into it with this old lady. But I don't know, like, I guess, like, you know, like, that whole getting in trouble thing just had me scared. But I didn't do anything wrong. That's the crazy thing about it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I know I didn't do anything wrong. So that's why I was just all like, well, why am I getting in trouble? Like, you know, like, now that I think about it, I'm like, why would I even be getting in trouble? I didn't even do anything wrong. This lady called me and my friends the N-word. And I'm like, really? Like, why am I the one getting in trouble? So anyways, yeah, then to end the night off, my mom bought me a PlayStation Portable. So it was funny, my dad grounded me, but then she went out to Target and bought me a PlayStation, the PSP, and so I was like, bruh, I don't even know what I should do. And I was like, it was the God of War bundle too. I played that game. That game is fun. The God of War game on the PSP, that was fun. But anyways, back to racism. But yeah, that was like the one and only time I say I had to dealt with like racism that was like, I wouldn't say it was like face to face, but it was like, it wasn't on the internet, all right? And then when I got into YouTube and everything, then that's when I was all like, the N-word comments. I remember the one guy, I think I might have mentioned him before in videos, or in, well, I mean, yeah, in videos, my podcast. You guys, if you're a subscriber of my YouTube channel, you might have seen the video, my most viewed video on my main channel, TMossBoss. It was my reaction to this guy's video titled, Dear White People, Why I Hate White People. So, yeah, this guy, this black guy made a video about why he hates white people. One of my fans asked me to react to it, and I didn't have no, like, I was like, alright, I don't have no problems doing that. I know I'm going to get a good laugh out of this video and things, and so I reacted to it. And I overall didn't agree with what he said. I'm like, yo, just because some like 9-year-old kids like called you the N-word and stuff on YouTube, like don't take your anger out on all white people. Like he was taking his anger out on all white people and stuff. So I'm like, bruh, like nah, like don't, you can't. I mean, it's like you can do that, but it's like it's just not right. So like it's like what's like why? Like it's a, come on, bro. Like you're like you're bigger than this, okay? Like this is like they want to see this side out of you and things. That's why it's like you can't. Like my advice to like colored people on the internet: do not show any emotions to a person that's being racist towards you on the internet, or even a person that's attacking you on the internet. Don't show any emotions besides laughing and just responses and laughing. That's the best way you can respond to something, or like to react to something. But if you're gonna get mad and then try to like fight fire with fire and things, it's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out. So yeah, that's what I guess what he tried to do, fight fire with fire. And yeah, I remember I uploaded the video and was just, or my reaction to the video, and was just like, yeah, you're wrong. Like that's not cool and things. You can't get mad. Like your own fans. Like I'm like your fan. Like probably a good portion of your fans are white, and you're just getting not like just telling them unsubscribe from my channel because you're white. I don't like you. Like that's messed up. Like I can never say that to my fan base. I don't care what color they are. They could be green like the Hulk. I'm like, if that's their color of choice, I can't stop that. Like, I can't stop what race they are and things. I'm like, that's genetics. Like, you can't stop that. So, anyways, it was like maybe a few days later, he tweeted me and things and was all like, I guess like, yeah, he got mad at me and things for what I said. I'm like, bro, we are two different people, all right? We come from two different places. Obviously, yeah, you've dealt with more racism than I have. But, yeah, I'm like, I'm not going to, like, go and just, like, all my like all of like white friends I made throughout my life, I'm just gonna tell them, oh, I can't be friends with you anymore because you're white. Like that's I got like a lot of white friends. Like there's times I'm like just sitting there just chilling with just like pretty much just like a bunch of white people and things. I'm like that one like speck of black that's within a group of like 100 white people and things. Like no, like I have to say probably a good portion of my friends are or yeah, most like yeah, white. I'm like, my best friend, he's actually, well, he's Guamanian and white, but he's white. And I'm like, I can't, like, turn down, like, a brother. Like, me and him, I would have to say that's my brother. Like, I'm like, man, we've been friends for a while now, all right? So I'm like, 13 years, actually, 13 years. And so, yeah, I'm like, I've known him pretty much a good portion of my life. So, like, why would I stop being friends with him because of a YouTube video? Like, that's what I'm like, that's what I was overall, like, trying to, like, tell him and things. I'm like, there's people that I've known for years, okay? They've never been racist to me. They've never said anything racist. If anything, they've had my back throughout everything, like, racist encounterment or, like, anything, like, racist that had to, like, do with me and stuff. So, like, some, like, a black person getting killed on TV, they were mad about that type of stuff, all right? And I was like, there's people I met throughout my whole life, and I was just like, they've never, I mean, like, yeah, white friends, I've never had a racist white friend. Never. Like, I mean, there's friends where they just, like, they overall said some, like, racist jokes, and I didn't laugh at it, and then overall, I think they realized that I ain't finding the music. So, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't really call them racist, but I guess they tried to see if they can break that barrier, but I'm like, no. Like, I'm like, that's not funny, so. And I'll tell them, I'm like, was I supposed to laugh? Like, I didn't feel like laughing and things. And so, anyways, yeah, I'm that friend, guys. I know, I'm a bad friend. I should have laughed at his joke. Whoopity-doo. But anyways, Yeah, so that guy, the YouTube guy, he got mad, attacked me on Twitter, attacked me for a while actually. I remember that man was up like 3 a.m. doing live streams about me and things, just calling me like all these like racist, derogatory black names. I'm like, I don't think you understand what's happening, but you're black, I'm black. I don't think saying racist stuff to me will work, especially if you're black. Like I don't know how to accept racism from my own race. Like that's how do you accept that? Like I can't call him racist because we're the same race. So like what do you call samest? Like because like he's racist, but we're the same race. So like a samest? Like I don't know what to call that. Like that's I'm like I was confused. I'm like what's happening here? Like, this man was calling me every derogatory, like, racist name you can think of, okay? Like, I mean, there were some names, too. And, but I'm like, the thing was, it was like, I didn't, like, take any offense to it because there was a friend of mine in high school. Me and him and he was black. Me and him, we called each other racist black names left and right. Every time when we would greet each other, we would call ourselves, like, we would call each other racist names. Seriously, that was, like, that definitely was, like, one of the greatest friends, I had to say. Like, we don't even really talk that much anymore, but no, like, if he ever does, like, hear this podcast, his name is Alex. That dude, seriously, like, every time when we seen each other, doesn't even matter. I remember that was, like, actually that was, like, how we met. I remember he came up to us. And I have to say, he's like probably the first black person that said something racist to me. I mean, besides my family, but we all call each other like racist names and things. We call each other like black characters from movies and TV shows and stuff. So yeah, that's just a family thing. But like outside of my family, yeah, he was probably the first black person to say something racist to me. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like how does this work? How does this work out? Like somebody's gonna have to sit down and explain this one to me because I don't understand what's happening. But yeah, I'm like I prepared for this moment, so I'm like, bruh, like I don't know who you think you're hurting and things, but anyways, I'm like no, but like the energy you have right now towards white people, you go up to a white person's face and keep that same energy. See how far that gets you and stuff. Because I'm like you definitely ain't gonna go into a white area and be acting like that. They will call the cops and you're getting tased or shot. You never know. Hopefully not shot, but you might get a taser or some pepper spray. All right, you can't walk up on an old lady acting like that and things. But no, I remember he did do a video and he was like approaching white people and things and telling them about like racist stuff. As if like they did it and things, like trying to like flip it on them. And I'm like, no, dude, like I'm not sitting here saying bring up some stories or some stuff that happened. Like, no, what you said in your Dear White People, Why I Hate White People video, you say that to some white people. And that's like, honestly, I say that's how I shut down pretty much everybody around me and things. They never respond to questions like that. So that's why I'm all like, bruh, don't start with me, man, because I end your career. Like, I'm just saying, like, and he's like, yeah, that man, his fans are toxic, he's toxic. I remember one of his fans, though, was like, they said I had 72 hours to apologize to him, otherwise my social media accounts and YouTube channel, everything was going to get hacked. It's been 4 years now, because I think that happened in 2015. Yeah, it's been 4 years now. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe it's a loading process. Maybe his computer is updating, and yeah, it's just taking some time right now. Who knows? But anyways, but yeah, like racism on the internet, it's just don't look too highly of it. Don't see it as something where it's like, oh, I gotta get mad now. Somebody called me something racist on the internet. Like, no, don't. Like I said, don't show any emotions to racism. Laugh about it, if anything, alright? That's what I do. I laugh about it. I ain't seen some of the names people that called me. I'm like, you know what? That's not actually bad. Like, the same old, like, N-word or monkey or, you know, like, stuff like that. I'm like, be creative with it. Like, say something that's going to overall have me laughing. I'm not, like, encouraging you to actually be racist. But I'm just saying, like, if you are a racist, and you watch my YouTube videos, which would just be really weird, say something creative. Like the N-word, I'm like, it's like, that doesn't have any effect to me. Like, that's like, seriously, that's like just, that's the bullet hitting my like new and improved bulletproof vest. Like, it's not going to do anything. Like, it's really not. Like, I'm like, bruh, I'm like, I've been called this already. You got to think of something else. Like, eventually I'm like, bruh, like, you guys, like, I be giving them ideas. I'm like, okay, so tomorrow let's try this again, but instead of calling me the N-word, like, I don't know, maybe call me like Morgan Freeman if he was young or something. I don't know. They ain't really racist. It's a compliment if anything. But I'm just saying, like, take something like that, take that material, but try and make a negative out of it. So, you know, just say I look like a young, ugly Morgan Freeman and things. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's new. I never heard that before and things. But like, if that's not negative enough, like, add another negative to it. All right. So just while like you just like they're like an old / young Morgan, I don't know, like, think of something, okay? But like just the same old. I'm like, yeah, there's people I did, but no, there's the one fan base that fan base, they're very racist. They're nothing but Trump supporters and yeah, just racist people. And I'm like, dang, man, and I had to beef with them. So, anyways, yeah, racism. I don't know how I really feel about racism today. Like, it's just something where it's like, you know, you'll see the things like that'll happen on TV, like with the Trump supporter shooting Mexican people. I'm like, stuff like that. I feel like that there's far more like things to worry about than like, oh, being called the N-word. Like, there's far more worse things happening in this world. So that's why I'm like, don't get mad and stuff if somebody calls you the N-word on the internet, because there's far more racist like acts going on. It's far more worse and things. So yeah, that's why I'm all like, today's racism like on the internet, and I'm like, this is the same thing I've been dealing with for years. Like, eventually you guys just gonna either stop being racist or come up with something else, like, I don't know, positivity racism or something. Like, I don't know, like, just something. But anyways, yeah, racism, it's like, it's something that's not going to die, but it's like, why does it still go on? Like, why do people like, they stoop down that low to where if you get mad at somebody of color, you guys call them a racist name? Like, there's so many times I'd be watching like when I used to watch like World Star videos and things, yeah, I'll always see like there'll be some old lady like calling some like black people the N-word and things. And I'm like, and that's the thing I just don't understand, where it's like, it's an old woman that does it. Even with this old lady that used to like live up the street from my house, and it's like, lady, okay, because if I was crazy enough, which I'm not, but if I was crazy enough to actually do something about you calling me the N-word, why would you even think about doing that? Like, because it's like, okay, yeah, overall I'm gonna get in trouble, but if something happens to you, like, you brought that on yourself. That's what I'm saying. Like, when I see people approach a person of color and they're being racist to them, I'm like, man, especially if it's like in one of them like World Star videos, I'm like, oh, you know they're gonna get dropped. You know they're gonna get dropped. And then that's the thing about them World Star videos, because then when they get dropped, when they get knocked out, they be laid out with their arms sticking out, their eyes going sideways, still, I guess, like, paused in the time that they were knocked out. But yeah, it's like, don't do that to yourself, you know? Like, don't be that person where it's like you're putting yourself in danger. Because I'm saying, like, you're gonna have people like me that look at that stuff and laugh and be like, okay, well, something's wrong with you mentally and things, and you don't have the mental, I don't know, you just don't have the mental state to think of something more like clever, creative and stuff, you know? Like, overall, like, I'll be guiding you on something, like, you know, like, if you are a racist and things, I'll be guiding you. But like the older like, I had to say, like, the older generation, maybe some of the newer generation, they're not going to see too highly of being called the N-word or any other racist name. And that's why, like, when people when they do say racist stuff online, I challenge them, be all like, all right, well, go out in public with this same energy and things. But it's like, when they like, if they do, and they're thinking that they're going to be coming across a person like myself, and then they end up coming across freaking Rampage Jackson when he tore down that door in that like old YouTube video. Like, you don't want to be that door, okay? You don't want to be in a situation where you're running for your life or fighting for your life and things. That's what I'm saying. Like, people, If you are a racist, stop it. Because it's going to get you nowhere in life. Absolutely nowhere. Honestly, I know people are gonna ask me like, "Oh, have you ever been racist? Have you ever thought about racist stuff?" Maybe in a jokingly way, but I thought about it to myself. I've never said it out in public. I never went out and said like, oh, like I don't know. I never talked bad about white people. I've never talked bad about Asian people or Hispanic people or anybody else like that's different from me. Overall, it's like I see it as this. We're all the same. Our skin is just different. So I'm like, I see everybody as the same. They speak, like, we all speak the same language. We all have the same eyes, the same, like, we're all the same. We're all human. So I'm like, I can't look at a person like, and I don't know, like, when I say, like, oh, I've, like, thought about, like, racist jokes and stuff, and it, like, had me laughing things. It was a joke. And I mean, overall, it's like not other people are going to find this joke funny. And that's why I don't be going around saying racist jokes unless it's about black people and things. But I'm like, it's overall a joke that I'm like, okay, like it doesn't have nothing to do with death. It doesn't have nothing to do with, like what's going on today, like with black people and, all this stuff that we're having to face and things. I'll say some funny stuff. All right, if it's stuff that we can all laugh about, then I'm like, okay, cool. But if it's stuff that we all can't laugh about, then that's stuff I'm like, and that's stuff that I think about. That's stuff where I'm like, okay, well, I know I can't say this out to like friends or somebody because I know they're gonna have something to say about it, and it'll just be really awkward. I say this joke, and so I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna do that to myself. So that's why I'm like, racist jokes, racist comments, all that stuff. I think it should just all be kept to a person's like deep down in that vault in their brain. All right, lock the door, throw the vault in the ocean in your brain, and just let that ocean float. All right, but anyways, no, I'll say this. I'm saying these things, but you still gonna have some racist people out there. They're still gonna be all like, oh well, I'm gonna still wake up tomorrow morning and be sitting there looking at black people calling them the N-word and stuff, and I'm like, yeah. And as you're doing that, make sure you actually do it. Make sure you actually go up to a black person. Because if you're listening to this podcast, right? You're listening to this, you're all like, I'm still going to be racist no matter what. Then, all right, I challenge you. Go out and be racist in public. All right? See how far that gets you. Now, overall, if you know something's going to happen to you, then that's why you shouldn't be, that's why you shouldn't be racist to people. Because it's going to most likely get you hurt or killed. And I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to get killed. But if you think you big, bad, and mighty, and you can just do whatever you want without no consequences, then alright, put it up to the test. Challenge yourself. But anyways, it's like, just stop being racist. Simple as that. Just stop. It's like, give it a day. Alright, look at some black people, smile. Look at the little black kids playing in the park. Watch some black movies. Freaking Friday is probably one of the best, black movies out there. There's a movie where it's like, you'll be sitting there laughing and things. I just don't understand, when, I don't know, when there's, those, racist people, they look at black people and they're like, ugh, why are they acting like that? Just so disgusted. And I'm like, that's just how we act. That's how, that's the thing where people just don't seem to understand what cultures. Each and every culture is different. They all got their way of entertaining each other, laughing, having fun, being a family, and stuff. That's how just a culture is. So, anyways, yeah, that's just the answer to that question. But I'm gonna leave this with a little stereotype that I've noticed, something that I feel like everybody can laugh about. Black men say what's up to each other, even though that they don't know each other. We'll give each other that head nod. We'll just be walking down. You know how many times a day where I see a black person and we give each other that head nod? I'm just waiting for a day where they think that they know me and then they dab me up, hug me and all that stuff. And they're like, I'll catch you tomorrow at work. And I'm like, bro, I've never worked with you. This is my first time ever meeting you in life. What is you talking about? Do I work with them? What is happening? And then maybe I do work with them. He kind of looked familiar. He looked like a distant cousin or like a distant uncle or something. But No, I like black. They like just notice that. All right, if you see two black people getting ready to cross paths, look at their head, and if they both do the head nod, I want you to burst out laughing as loud as you can. Okay, and then be all like, TMossBoss told me that this would happen, and then take off running because you just look real crazy right now, bursting out and laughing and things. But anyways, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Something in my eye, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Like, that's like, just want to like snatch my eye out, blow it like an old Nintendo 64 tape, and then put it back in. But that would be weird, and people would think I'm crazy, and therefore I will not do that to myself. But anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening to my podcast. If you're viewing this on YouTube, like and subscribe. Also, I would like to bring this up. I am now a brand, and I'm going to make this into a YouTube video too and talk about it on YouTube, but I am now a brand ambassador of SeatGeek, okay? Now, if you watch David Dobrik's vlogs, you'll have an idea of what SeatGeek is, but SeatGeek, it's, I don't want to copy David Dobrik and what he says, but I probably am, but SeatGeek is a place where you go and buy tickets to like concerts and, you know, events and all that stuff. So, cut into what you guys want to really hear about it. Alright, I have a promo code that you can use for SeatGeek on your first purchase. Promo code is TMossBoss. Alright, use that promo code and you'll get $20 off of your your next purchase on SeatGeek. So anyways, use that promo code. Have fun at the event that you go to. I will talk to you guys later. I'm swinging my arms even though you guys can't see me, but I'm just having a really good time doing this podcast and stuff. So anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. Stay tuned for some more. Thank you for listening, and yeah, talk to you guys later. Peace.